You could have expected this to happen. Of course, the New York Times, CNN, all of your favorite sources are now saying, you know, that incredible military strike that our brave team was able to go in, get it done, and get out before even anyone knew it happened? Not good enough. Not good enough. And of course, that reporting came out of some leaked documents. And of course, we still are dealing with the fact that there are leaked documents. Leaking is still happening, but thankfully now we have a group that is in there right now in the Pentagon saying, hey, if you're going to be leaking these top high-end security details, number one, it's treasonous. Again, those are their words. It's treasonous. And also, we're going to do an investigation. We're going to figure out how you got this info. Because really, who does it benefit? Who does it benefit to show this analysis? And the analysis, of course, they said was not necessarily 100%, wasn't necessarily accurate. They did say that it was leaked, saying that, yes, it pushed them back probably months. Maybe it didn't push them back years or completely decimate these facilities. But it's also not anything that's been 100% proven by any means.
And so who does the deep state go to when they want to subvert the agenda of President Trump or even the successes of our military? They go to Natasha Bertrand, who is CNN's deep state correspondent. Remember, she is the one that got the exclusive about the 51 former intelligence individuals that were coming out saying, hey, this Hunter Biden laptop, it's Russian disinformation.
The battle damage that resulted from those U.S. military strikes on these 3 Iranian nuclear facilities over the weekend. And as you said, it was produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is the Pentagon's intelligence arm. And it is worth noting that it is a very early assessment. The strikes were only a matter of days ago, and the intelligence community is still gathering intelligence. They are still working to come up with a full, comprehensive picture of what exactly happened here. But based on a battle damage assessment that was carried out by U.S. Central Command, essentially looking at the images and looking at what was actually damaged, the Defense Intelligence Agency has assessed that the core components of Iran's nuclear program are largely intact, and that Iran's nuclear program has essentially only been set back by months.
Again, coming from leaked documents, low-level documents, again, she caveats it a little by saying, you know, this is just early assessments. We don't really know. We haven't really been able to go take a look at all the battle damage. This is maybe from looking at, I guess, satellite imagery of what happened here. And look, I'm not saying necessarily they're wrong, because now President Trump and a lot of them have said they're wrong.
So she ran with that. That was her big scoop. And now her big scoop for CNN is that there's an intelligence report from the Defense Intelligence Agency that, by the way, has low-level confidence. And
what does that mean? I want to be able to understand
that. Means that this is just a very preliminary assessment. They haven't been able to really get in there and see what has gone on, but the low-level confidence, top secret intelligence report that was leaked to CNN said that it appears that their capacity to build a nuclear weapon is moved back by a matter of months. So that is now the headline that you're seeing people like Aaron Burnett on CNN running with after their reporter, Natasha Bertrand, went with it. The New York Times are all taking it. They're celebrating this like there's egg on the president's face, when in reality, our soldiers, our troops, our pilots went over there and had a perilous mission, did it, and now they're celebrating it.
Let's hear from President Trump as well, talking, and then Caitlin Collins.
Oh, fake news, CNN?
Here, I'll hold it.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Wait till you hear this question.
Thank you, sir.
You should really say how great our soldiers and our warriors are.
I think everyone appreciates our soldiers and our warriors. I do have 2 questions for you, Mr. President. You just cited Israeli intelligence on these attacks. Earlier, you said U.S. intelligence was inconclusive. Are you relying on Israeli intelligence for your assessment of the impact of the strikes?
No, this is also Iran made the statement. And it's also, if you read the document that was given, that Pete can talk about if you'd like, the document said it could be very severe damage, but they didn't take that. They said it could be limited or it could be very severe. They really didn't know, other than to say it could be limited or it could be very, very severe. And you didn't choose to put that because it was very early after. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated. And we think everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out.
When you hear the president there, one, also pointing out, as CNN likes to do, that, and you could tell that Natasha Bertrand, even in that report, had clearly seen the whole document.
Yeah.
She knew a lot of details and ins and outs, but that is selective reporting. In the headline, the splashy headline that they wanted was that the assessment suggests strikes on Iran did not destroy nuclear sites, sources say. They are using anonymous leakers that are dangerous to the United States national security. They are trying to undermine the mission of our military and of the president. They should be celebrating that everyone was safe, that it struck a military target, and that it wasn't leaked beforehand, even though they are probably upset that their deep state sources didn't give them a tip-off ahead of the flight so that they could put our pilots in harm's way as they're on their way to Iran. But instead, they just want to celebrate what they could see as a failure by the president to keep the world safe.
Pentagon is not going to just roll over and take it. They're not just going to say, okay, fine, we have people leaking, whatever, no big deal. No. And Steve Witkoff responded to that. I want to play that.
Leaking that type of information, whatever the information, whatever site it comes out on, is outrageous. It's treasonous. So it ought to be investigated, and whoever did it, whoever's responsible for it, should be held accountable. It could hurt lives in the future. Leaking is a completely unacceptable thing.
Do I like that these kind of things leak? No, I do not. I think that this is very damaging to a lot of people, and it's to our safety and our security. We got to figure this part out. And I'm glad the Pete Hegseth and some of the other groups there, I mean, look, they were able to accomplish the mission without anything leaking. They were able to do the unthinkable, send, planes from Missouri to Iran and back without any of us knowing. Not even the news was reporting that there was explosions that happened. It was done before anyone knew. But how dare they have a successful mission? We're going to try to put egg on their face and then try to besmirch the name of our U.S. military.
It was leaked to them.
So happy
in
to do
the
it.
aftermath of a successful bombing campaign in Iran that is trying to push a different narrative than what the president has said. And honestly, it's a low confidence assessment. It's very early, but
they're breathing a sigh of relief because they actually have something they can report on that their audience hopefully will like. That's the problem, is they've been having to cover a story that has been kind of celebrated over, even from a lot of Democrats. And they don't like that. It doesn't fit the narrative. So what are we going to do? We're going to get someone we know, a low-level person in the Pentagon, to leak us a document that says, oh, it was a success, just maybe not as big of a success as we thought.